Today we'll be doing a story time. Ooh, 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 ooh. One of the most requested videos, and we'll be talking about my first experiences when I came to America, how it was, culture shock and all that. So I hope I won't have to divide this video into two because there's such a huge chunk of things because I don't want to bore you guys, so I want to make them short. But without further ado, let's get right into the video. So yeah, I flew from Harare. So from people that don't know, Harare is the capital city of Zimbabwe. So I live in Bulawayo, which is like, I want to say 6 hours drive. I'm not sure. I don't remember. But yeah, so on Christmas Day, I drove from Bulawayo to Harare, and my flight was on the 26th in the morning. So I went to the airport. My friends came. A couple of my friends came. Precious Kunwenda, Munashe Mike, and a guy that I was seeing during that time. Yes, he came, and his friend, and my mom and my grandma, so they came with me to the airport. I was, it hadn't sunk in that I was coming to America. So yeah, I checked in very early, guys, and next thing I know, I was supposed to go in, and I was like, huh? I'm supposed to now, leave my mom, and I was starting, and then I cried, blah 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 blah. Anyway, that's a story for another time. So I flew to South Africa. That was like an hour or even less. And then for South Africa, I had a layover for almost 10 hours. Then my flight was at night. And then I left from South Africa to Heathrow, London. That was like 10 hours to flight. And then layover, I think, was 10 more hours. And then I flew from London to San Diego. Then when I got to San Diego, because San Diego was my entry port into the US, so I had to do all this immigration stuff. They had to check my papers. They had to, make sure I'm coming into the US for the right reasons. And then they had to ask me, like, is anyone getting me from the airport, and all those questions. And yeah, so my uncle was coming to get me, so I gave them his number. They called him, blah blah blah, and he was already waiting. I think he was waiting for almost like 2 hours because basically I was being interrogated because you're entering the US, so they have to screen everybody. So yeah, and then so when I got out of the airport, I was like, this is America, tall buildings, lights, flashy cars, all that, busy life. I was like, okay. And then it was now sinking in that I'm in America, I'm here. So I spent like 2 weeks in San Diego with my uncle, shopping for my school, and also like changing, because I was jet lagged. Oh my God, I was jet lagged. My sleeping time was horrible. So those 2 weeks kind of helped me to like sink in, like, okay, I'm going to school, and then I'm in America. So yeah, and then so the day came for me to leave San Diego. Now it's like, okay, no more family. I'm by myself. So I flew into Evansville. I think I flew through Texas or Chicago, between the two. Between the two, I don't remember exactly. But yeah, let's just say Texas. So I flew into Texas, and I want to say that was like 4 hours flight. I might be lying. I don't remember. But yeah, and then I had a layover, and then from Texas to Evansville. We landed in Evansville. I was shocked when the flight was landing, I was like, oh, okay. Mind you, I was coming from San Diego, from all this big city, everything, and Evansville was grass. There was grass, buildings. It didn't seem to me to what I had envisioned America to be, if you understand what I'm saying. Like the big cars, the busy road, traffic, because I was coming from that. So yeah, I was shook. I was shooketh. So yeah, I was like, maybe it's just the airport part, when we're driving off, everything will be fine, I'm still in America. Then from one door to the other, like literally I want to say literally less than 5 minutes, I was out of the airport. I was shocked. The airport was let me not say it was. The airport is so small. Like, it's smaller than the airport in Harare. Is it called the Robert Mugabe, or is it called Harare International Airport? Between the two, it's so small. It's smaller than that airport. I was like, okay, all right, okay. And then when I got outside, it was more land, just empty road. Not empty, but empty compared to the traffic, the busy life, Okay, that's when my culture shock began. So yeah, so the international orientation members, they came and they took me from the airport to my dormitory. And then they kind of told me that, oh, orientation was starting tomorrow. So for that day, I had to figure out like what I'll eat, where I'll eat. Mind you, this was my first time in the city. So that's when I first learned that, okay, America is more of an individualistic approach. Like, because I know, like, for example, in Zimbabwe, if there is a visitor or something, you show them like the first day, you tell them, like, you give them a more detailed kind of thing. But yeah, anyway, so I learned that it was a more individualistic approach to things. So I had to figure out where to eat that night, what to eat, and all that. And then orientation began and stuff. And then I realized that when you're drinking water, a lot of people put ice with water. Like, if you have this big of a cup, 3/4 of the cup is purely ice, and then the quarter is, well, maybe I'm exaggerating, but water. Just a little bit of water. Yeah. I was like, okay. All right. And then there was salad for lunch. I was like, salad. Salad. So yeah, the food, was a little bit of yeah, you understand what I'm saying. Not what I was used to. And then also the other thing I realized, I learned very quickly in America, is like the time. People are time cautious here. Like in Zimbabwe, I used to be like with my friend, oh, let's meet at 12. I was always punctual. You can ask any of my friends. I was always punctual. But some of my friends, they'll show up at 1 p.m. when we're meant to meet at 12. Oh, but here, when they meet 12, it's actually a few minutes before 12. So it's like punctuality, strict. It's like they don't really tolerate that. And then classes started. And then most of the teachers will introduce themselves with like first name basis. I'll say Kim. I don't think I had a teacher called Kim. Kim. I'm like, Kim? Whenever I'm writing emails, like for maybe almost 2 semesters, writing emails or even talking to them, I'll call them by their last name, or if they're a doctor, I'll be like, oh, Doctor who, maybe Dr. William or Dr. whatever, I wouldn't say Kim. I found it very disrespectful, but here it's like, you just use first name basis for anyone. I've been with some families and some children address their mothers with first names. I was like, if I was to try that with my mother. I mean, now that I'm a little bit older, sometimes I call her, oh, Sis P, my mom. But I wouldn't just be outright like, hey, Peggy, it'll be like disrespectful. So yeah, and then what else? Eye contact. So in my country, well, let me not say specifically my country, in some cultures in my country, when you're talking to an elder and you're looking at them in the eye, it's super disrespectful. Very, very disrespectful. But here, when you're talking to professors, when you're not looking at them in the eye, they find it to be disrespectful. They find it as to you're not, paying attention. But I didn't learn that right off the bat. Like, I took this FYS class, so it's like first year seminar of like English class. And the professor was talking about, what you expected as a student in his class, and was talking about eye contact. I was like, what? So I have to, be looking at him, right in the eye and all that. And then the other thing, there's this thing, and I'm now saying it, which is a very, very bad habit. Um, when you ask, like, for example, a person, do you mind if I can do this? I mean, from the English that I learned, they're supposed to be like, no, I don't mind, like, no, no, I don't mind. But here I discover that if you ask, for most people, not everyone, for most people, ask them, oh, do you mind? They're like, yes, I don't mind. I'm like, uh, which one is which? So this one time it happened, I was in this English class and I wanted to leave early because I had to go to the clinic. I was not feeling well, so I was asking the professor, do you mind if I leave class early because I have like an appointment? And the professor was like, yeah, I don't mind. I was like, right, so am I supposed to see? Oh, like I was confused, like what am I supposed to do? But yeah, so. And in my country, like when you're handing something to an elder, if you give them with the left hand, it's very, very disrespectful. But if you do it with the right hand or both hands, it's respect. But here's like sometimes I'll see myself handing my professors with both hands, and they'll be just like, they wouldn't say anything, but they'll be like, they wouldn't be understanding what's going on, and I wouldn't have time to explain, blah, blah, blah. But yeah. And then, what else culture shocked me? Oh, whether in San Diego or where, all the houses are like open. There's no, like in Zimbabwe, we have Jura holes. That's like a wall around your house, or like, I'm going to use Zimbabwean English. I'm not sure if that's what it's called. Like a hedge. Like it's not grass. What are they? Plants? Which are like tall, and then they surround your house. You get what I'm saying? A fence surrounding your house. Like it's kind of like the norm, if I can say. But when I got here, literally all the houses are just open, and the ones that are like gated, they're called gated communities. They are very, very, very expensive houses and all that. It's like extra security here, but back home it's like, and also here the spaces, like yard spaces between houses, is so small. Like in Zimbabwe, most of the houses or some of the houses, they have like an area whereby kids can play, outside. Maybe it's because we spend most of the time outside, like literally outside playing year round. So yeah. And then what else? What else culture shocked me? Public transport. In this city specifically, so horrible. There's like a bus system and you have to download an app for it, and then you have to track, so that oh, it passes this station at this time or whatever. So a lot of people end up using Uber. But I guess if I'm saying this, a lot of Americans won't understand why I'm saying I was shocked with this, because back home, literally, if I just go down the street and so when I'm stopping a car, I'll do this, I think, yeah, I'll do this, and then any car or, the public transport will just stop, and then I pay them, and they literally drop me right off where I'm going. But here, the bus system is like, it drops you, and like they stick to certain routes. So if you're going somewhere further, you have to track or maybe use Uber, whereby Uber is very expensive. For example, if I'm going to Walmart and I take the bus, I want to say maybe I spent $1 or $2 at most, and then an Uber will cost me maybe $7 to go and then $7 to come back, and that's like the cheapest rate for Uber. It can be up to like $16, $15, So yeah, so public transport was shook it. And then the other thing was, sorry, I'm kind of like all over the place, but I'm trying to like remember things on top of my head. But yeah, other thing was like how I could literally go out and eat and come back at like 10 p.m. All this independency and me being my own parent that I had really shocked me. It took me like a little while. Whereas back home, I don't remember my parents literally telling me that, oh, you have to be home by 6 p.m. But it was kind of like you're expected to know it. So by 6, I'll be at the house eating. I'm talking about food. You guys know I love food, but let me tell you something about food. Here, breakfast is at like 7, 8ish. That's a normal like breakfast time. Back home it's also like 6, 7, 8. It varies. And then lunch. Here they have early lunch, like beginning at 11. Like in offices, people be going to get lunch. 11, 12, and then 1 is kind of late. 2 is very late for lunch. But back home it's like 1, 2 are the lunch times. And then dinner in America, it's like 5 p.m., 6 p.m. For the, 5, 6 p.m. I want to say. And then back home, it's like you start cooking at like 6 or 7, and then you eat at 8, 9, So so it took me a while to get adjusted to, the times eating schedules here. Because I was, the first 2 years I came here, I was living in like university dormitories. So I had to have a food plan. So eat in the dining hall. So they had like set times for like dinner, lunch, So I couldn't really do my own thing, But yeah. And then classes. So small, especially like when I changed my major to computer science. Very small classes. I feel like about 12 people at most, if I'm lucky. Or I'll have like 5 people sometimes in just a whole class, with one professor. Yeah, it took me a while because back in high school, I don't remember the number, but I want to say in my A-level class, my upper 6th class, A-level class in the science commercial class, I think we were about 30 people or something like that. But yeah, so yeah, I also, when you start working, you have to have a social security number, and it's something that it's very, very different. Back home, if you're going to work, you just go and work. You don't need like apparently here actually a social security number. If you're American, you get it when you're born. Yeah, when you're born, that's when you get your social security number. But if you're an international student and you have a job like on campus, that's when you can get a social security number, and all that. But back home, you don't need that. Just go and work. You're good. You get paid, and that's it. And taxes. Every year you have to file for taxes, and there's like very complicated method, but apparently for us international students at UE, we're very fortunate. Kate Hogan, who is our international advisor, she helps us, like she literally goes step by step with like filing our taxes, because it's a very really like hard process. Some people actually hire people who file their taxes, like accountants, because it's a very intense kind of thing, it's really stressful. So yeah, but back home, I don't think maybe I didn't know about it because I was a kid, but yeah, no. So yeah, that's the end of my video. Thank you so much for watching my video, and I hope with people that in Zimbabwe can see how much change there is in culture shock, because it also happens back, like if you go back home, you're not used to like the American system of things, but when you back home, you have to now start learning, adapting to what you did when you grew up, if you all understand. So yeah, I hope you guys will like, share, comment, and please subscribe. Please subscribe. Please subscribe. Please subscribe, and also hit the notification bell so that whenever I drop a video, which is every week, you will be the first to know. So yeah, till next time.